You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's RuPaul's Drag Race After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's RuPaul's Drag Race After Show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another AfterBuzz RuPaul's Drag Race edition. I am not Tony Moore. Tony Moore is somewhere.
He has to announce that, though, because your listeners on iTunes might get confused.
Right.
That's happened.
So Tony is somewhere frolicking about in the fields of South Carolina. So I am filling in for Tony. My name is Kenny Harrison, the original host of RuPaul's Drag Race. Sitting across from me are the lovely
Jacque Borowski. I thought Cam was lovely,
well,
too.
I would say the handsome
Cameron Marston.
And in the booth we have
Steve, what's up, guys?
There you go. So
there I am.
Real quick, you guys, what are your first impressions? Oh, by the way, this is episode 12, the final 3, Hunty. What are your first impressions of this episode?
I just don't like the recycling. They just basically took the same, and we were talking about how innovative they have been in their challenges up until this point. And so this was like, wah. Why did you just recycle the same challenge from last season and do it here?
I feel like they've been doing that the whole season, recycling challenges. What do you think, Cam?
But this one was like the last challenge, exactly the same. Why are you going to do that?
Everybody says I'm negative.
Why would they say that?
Because I'm negative.
We need a negative Nancy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to down it, but I was like, it was kind of boring. I mean, I expected Jinkx to be amazing in the acting court scene, which she was. I expected Roxy to be pretty in the video, which she was, and she kicked the choreography. And I expected Alaska. I didn't expect Alaska to do it.
I expected Alaska to randomly
and
wander off
I'm not
set.
as aggravated by Alaska as Jacque is. I'm sure we'll get to the topic, but yeah, the episode was a little boring. I think they did edit it to make them all look equally present in the episode to feed into the you're gonna find out who's gonna win.
That's
yeah,
true.
Whatever.
Okay, so before we go on any further, I forgot to do the housekeeping stuff. So Bing is for doing. So Bing, do it. Bing. And go to iTunes, download us on iTunes.
Down us.
And go to YouTube and down Jacque and Cam on YouTube.com. And just a quick shout out to all the viewers who have been commenting on YouTube. I've read a lot of funny
You guys
stuff.
are awesome and hilarious, and you make me laugh.
And it's real fun to just. The banter is just amazing.
Kenny loves when I get ripped.
Well, there was one comment real quick about you and Tony that someone's waiting for one of these mugs to go flying across the room. So,
Don't try it. I will.
I'm sure you will. Okay, so let's do something a little bit different. Let's quickly recap the show. I mean, there's no need to regurgitate the entire episode. So there was no mini challenge. Basically, like Cam said, there was the courtroom scene. There was the
Gloria
music.
Allred, right? Is that her name?
Yes, which is she's a very popular civil rights attorney, and one of the big things that she did recently was the Miss Canadian transgendered woman who was disqualified because she wasn't born a true woman. So, or I don't know the term they use, but she wasn't born female. So she was a part of the episode, and she came in and interviewed them. They also did a music video with Candis Cayne, who will hopefully be calling in later this afternoon to talk with us. And the music video was directed by Matt Anderson, who's been on the show before.
He gives me the creepers.
He does. He does have a very serial killer look to
He's
him.
a little. Well, let's talk about it. What are your thoughts on the music video and the whole process?
It looked like Tu Wong Fu to me. With all of them in the car and 3 different women with 3 distinct personalities,
Right.
It really felt very Tu Wong Fu.
I was just thinking, we're in season 5, technically season 6, because All Stars, right?
Yeah, we don't count that.
And then I'm thinking, budget must have increased a little bit.
Right. Or RuPaul used that budget for her personal.
She used it for her, what is it, white lighting on her face.
Well, okay. Well, in previous seasons, I think the Glamazon, I don't remember what season that was, but that was a really...
4.
It was a high concept where they had the big drag queens, and I haven't seen the video. They haven't aired it yet. They're going to air it next week.
During the clip show, yeah.
Yeah. So who knows? It might be something great, but yeah, 3 drag queens in car, and then they were lip syncing, spinning around. Yeah.
I don't understand why they needed to speed up the lip sync either.
I think for effects, and I'm sure
okay.
it'll make sense when we actually see the video. I don't know either the answer to that, but so yeah, that was a music video. So that's
So,
done.
yeah.
So we're moving on to the courtroom. Well, actually, before that, they had the interviews.
Right.
They had lunch with Ru, and I'm always wondering what they are eating. Is it
TikTok.
Jelly beans?
Well, it looked like a
TikTok
Ike,
maybe.
I didn't see this
Mike and
one,
Ike.
though. I didn't watch the TikTok part. I don't know what they're eating.
It was like a little red.
But
Like,
usually it's TikTok.
yeah.
Oh my god, it's too much. I can't finish.
So each sat down with Ru, and while one person was sitting down with Ru, the other person was being interviewed or being grilled by Gloria Allred.
Or being poked by producers.
Or being poked by producers, as we've already discussed. So anything stood out?
As far as the Gloria Allred piece?
Either
or
one.
As far as, well, I think and we know I'm a Jinkx fan, but I think with Gloria Allred, Jinkx defended herself the best. She managed to come off the most, like, with the best argument for herself. It seemed like Alaska, she clocked Roxy for giving a pageant answer.
Right.
And it seemed like Alaska was just kind of trailing off into La
Well, you know
La Land.
what? I think in Alaska's defense, I think she used it as a learning tool. Like, because we all saw at the end of the episode that she did the best as far as giving the answer. So some people usually, if they don't have, I'm kind of one of those people that if I don't have a good idea and I'm absorbing something from someone who's knowledgeable about, what's going on, you take that and you learn from it. And the judges on the panel said she was the only one to incorporate what was asked of them on the runway. So,
And of course, we wouldn't know that because we didn't actually see that comment as far as what they required in the task. We only heard the part about why should they be the queen. We didn't hear the part. It wasn't mentioned.
it
in the
wasn't
actual
mentioned,
show.
but for each queen, Gloria basically said, so you need to bring yourself up and make the other girls
Yes.
look, beneath you. And she said that to each one of them. So I just assumed, because I think I'm a smart person, and I just assumed that was a part of the task. So, because otherwise, why would they even bring her in to coach the question and
point.
answer?
Ratings.
Well, that's true.
I was also wondering though why. So Jinkx brought up her past to Ru again, but Roxy never mentioned the whole. Roxy and Jinkx actually have a lot in common in that they had to grow up very fast,
Right.
And it's just a matter of who reacted what way to that. And I was surprised that Roxy didn't really bring up being left at the bus stop.
She's not ready to be vulnerable. That's why
Yeah.
she comes off as such a bitch. I love you,
Yeah.
Roxy. But she comes off as a bitch.
Yeah.
And I think
always lashing out.
that, and I actually really do like Roxy, and I know there are a lot of comments on our YouTube that are saying she's a bully, and I firmly feel this is a producer
Jacque is
prompted
totally
thing.
anti-bully, just so you know. She's
I'm
not about it.
I am very anti-bully.
She is totally anti-bully.
and I can totally see where, and I stand by my phrase in the last episode where I said 0 to cray cray. She went from being just like kind of like the kind of person who like chums around and jokes around with you to all of a sudden being this crazy competitor, and I don't think that's her. And I think that, part of it is not allowing herself to be vulnerable on screen. And I think that would have helped her look less like a bully if she might have opened up maybe to more on the screen to Ru about that. I don't like the fact that, you know, at the end she apologizes to Jinkx on stage, but she doesn't apologize to Jinkx in person.
Do you think that's her way of saving face in front of Ru for competition purposes?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. But
Okay.
I also kind of want to see the real editing sequence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like if she was
the whole-
prompted and like what
yeah.
happened there.
The
It was
time
very
frame, was it
bizarre.
right after? Was there questions in between?
Before, yeah.
Right, because you know, I realize there's so much more going on that we don't see, but I just want, yeah.
It was also bizarre because I feel like in the workroom leading up to that point, there are like Roxy's almost doing kind of like a tongue-in-cheek like psych out, and then it turns crazy again.
Right.
And I wonder if again that's like a producer prompting her to be like, oh, how do you feel like, and then getting this person like kind of emotionally jigsawed, because she goes from kind of like joking around being like, oh, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna take you two ladies down, and it wasn't initially just about Jinkx. She was like
Coming for Alaska.
coming for
Well-
Alaska too, and then all of a sudden it just turned around into like scary random cat fight. I was like, what is
Well,
this?
I mean, I guess we can talk about it. The Courtroom obviously was not her best performance.
No.
And it was totally suited for Alaska and Jinkx. What do you guys think about how she handled the situation after? Because, I mean, she basically blew up Adam, you know?
Right.
Which, in my opinion, she did so well in the music video that she was just like, oh, you know, I'm on top of the world, blah, blah, blah. And neither Jinkx nor, and especially Alaska, she's not a dancer. She had an afro wig, which I don't understand why she chose that. But you didn't see Alaska go off the handle and be like, I suck at this, and Roxy, you suck, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Why do you think that Roxy is the one to be more verbal about not doing well in challenges? What do you think that stemmed from?
I think underneath all of her like beauty and poise, there's some real vulnerability there, and she's not expressing it in the way that she did when she expressed it about the bus stop. You know, there's a level of vulnerability that she's not expressing in a way that gets her point across.
Well, it's also, I mean, that's two different topics. I mean, you talked about her being verbal. I think she's learned to be verbal because she was abandoned and she probably was picked on as a kid, and she learned to fight back for herself, which then kind of nurtures the lashing out and fighting back. And actually you learn to pick on people before they pick on you, which is not always healthy because you're trying to beat them to the punch, right? If you weaken them first, they can't come for you. So hopefully she grows.
But then she uses the whole being big as well as a crutch. Don't you think?
As a
You know?
platform.
Because, I mean, she even mentions it in the gay community. Big, how can I say this without being offensive? Heavier people are looked down upon because there's this culture of what homosexual men supposed to look like. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
they're always at the gym. They take care of themselves, and I'm only just saying that they
For
have
iTunes
this.
viewers, Kenny keeps flexing his guns.
No, but I'm just
Listeners, I
saying.
keep saying viewers, like you can view the sound.
You can view the sound. I think you can. But you see what I'm saying? It's like she's using this all of these excuses, and it's not selling her case to the viewers.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
And I think also though, and this came up too, where for her drag is something different. Like for her drag, and especially with being a bigger girl, like drag is an opportunity for her to be beautiful. And so she sees it a little bit differently than how Alaska and Jinkx see it. And Alaska and Jinkx see drag as a more performative. And so I think also there's a disconnect of what drag should be.
Right.
I think Roxy used drag, like you just said, as a form to feel beautiful because of abandonment issues, neglect, self-worth, validation. She's on stage. I've seen her do choreography. I watched some of her old videos for like Miss Continental Plus. She'd rocked some choreography. That being said, though, I also think Jinkx, like you said, they are somewhat similar. I think Jinkx, before she got into acting and singing, used or kind of felt comfortable with drag because it was a form of escapism.
Now here's my question though. Now going back to the whole Roxy blow up, and her claiming that drag is not it's not always comedy. You know, what do you feel about, do you feel that she's right that sometimes they should take drag seriously? Because obviously the challenge was meant to be funny. We all agree, right?
Yes.
So I think her going off, she said something along the lines of, I don't think that, she was actually kind of saying to the show, like, this is a joke. Everything that we do, why does everything have to be funny? You know what I mean? I
totally disagree with her opinion. And then, of course, I guess this is why, like, getting to the heart of the matter, why I'm a Jinkx fan, because I see drag as, it has to be comedic. Latrice said, "You're a dude in a wig." It's
right. Right.
It's like, I mean, if you can't laugh at yourself and you can't, like, make something comedic about it, I don't know why you're doing it.
Which she contradicts herself, because one of those videos that I did watch of her doing choreography, part of it was a whole shtick where the person's talking in between numbers because it changes songs, and it's funny, and she's being comedic, and she's rolling with that.
Right. I think she's a funny person, so I'm like, I don't understand.
So again, splicing though, because what I'm getting was that the first day after the court scene, she blows up and she has the cray moment. The next day, she's ripping again, but in her confessional, she's talking about, I'm getting under their skin. I'm doing it on purpose. This is a competition I'm trying to get in her head. So was it all part of that whole, was that her whole plan?
No, I think she was just frustrated that she sucked. And
angry sucking.
And I like Jinkx. I hope she wins. But Roxy has definitely gone down for me because of the whole bullying and the constantly complaining. And, if she does great, and she has nothing to say. But then when she sucks at a challenge, she's always pointing the finger. And that, to me, she's basically calling herself a victim. And, so she sucks. I mean, no, I think as a person, I think, Roxy, you're probably a very genuine person. Let me go on the record for saying that. But, and
Roxy,
here's the thing.
I'll be your friend in real life. I just don't want you to win RuPaul's Drag Race.
But you can't. I mean, these people put themselves on these shows. So and whatever I'm seeing, who knows? There are like thousands of hours of footage that we don't get to see, and maybe everything is cut specifically. Well, it all obviously is cut a certain way. So. Maybe she's the.
Because I found it interesting that when they have the voiceovers while they're doing Runway, Jinkx talks about she wants to be a representative for the Outcast. So what was Sharon Needles?
Representing for the Outcast.
Same thing. Right. I think that the
not that she was negating Sharon Needles. It's not like she's the pioneer representing the Outcast.
But even Ruth said it. She said we all represent Outcasts to some so.
It's a quality of the gay community, though.
Also, for Alaska, what I didn't like, since I'm on the voiceovers while they're doing Runway, she mentions the fact that she was a beautiful ghoul, and I'm thinking, ooh, see, you don't want to ride on the coattails of Sharon, because Sharon, with that whole shtick, was ghouls and the whole dark side of things, and I don't know if for me, it just
we got Candis calling in.
Hi, Candy.
Candis, you're on the line with AfterBuzz TV.
Hi.
Hi, Candis. So let me do a quick introduction. Candis.
Wait, I just want to give a shout out to Candis from the Baldwin Bears. I just wanted to say it. I totally forgot you were from Baldwin.
Oh, Baldwin Bears.
What is that?
Yay.
It's her alma mater.
That's our alma mater.
So Candis,
from high school.
Thank you for calling in, and welcome to AfterBuzz TV.
Hi guys.
Hi. I'm gonna just jump into a question, and you guys can jump in as well. What was the process like for you during this episode, as far as meeting the girls and teaching them the choreography? I hate that word. Well, sorry.
Choreography.
Thank you.
It's always exciting for me to come to this part of the show, because I get to see who the final three girls are. I can't say anything to anybody, but it's always interesting, and I always end up like knowing someone or have heard of somebody. So it was nice, walking in and meeting all the girls for the first time. I mean, I'd heard of Roxy because she is the daughter, the drag daughter of the late, great Eric Andrews, who is a very dear friend of mine, who passed a few weeks ago. And so I was excited about meeting her and just getting to know the girls. It's always interesting because I don't know how adept they are in dance, and a lot of the choreography that I have to do it on a like kind of a basic level because I can't do anything too complicated because I want the girls to like look their best.
While we're on the topic of choreography, who do you felt nailed it if you had to give one person?
Roxy.
Thank you. Actually, and from what I saw, I didn't think Jinkx did that. I thought she did okay.
She wasn't horrible, but
No, she did.
You could tell Roxy was on it.
Yeah.
And you know, Alaska got it eventually. And you know what I have to say? Like, they, you know, made it look a lot. You know, editing is a gorgeous thing because you get to really like, you know, upplay people's strengths and downplay their weaknesses. But you know, they got it at the end, and I think they all did a really great job.
I was just waiting for you to serve them a loud Mary.
Bring me my fast. No. I was always funny because I was like, somebody had posted something online and somebody was like, oh, that Candis Cayne, I met her a long time ago, and believe me, she's not very nice. And I was like, oh my God, these people, like, I'm nice. I know it, goddammit.
Everybody wants to be relevant.
Yeah.
On those shows, you know, I come across a little harsh, but you know, it's a competition. So they're like, girl, be harsh.
That wasn't even harsh. That wasn't even harsh.
I thought,
I know, for me, that was harsh.
Oh.
Well, I'd like to just talk about your career, Candis, because you've done a lot of things. Like you've done shows like Dirty Sexy Money. I know that was one of the big shows that you've done, and Drop Dead Diva, which I just saw.
Love it.
I saw you in it. That was great. What are you currently working on right now?
Well, I just filmed an episode of Elementary, which aired 2 weeks ago. My character's name was Miss Hudson, and it's a possible reoccurring role. So I need all the listeners to call into CBS and say, girl, make my girl a series like a regular. So I'm waiting to hear back.
Right.
So if you know anybody at CBS, call for a bit. No.
I think I know the coffee person.
Yeah. I'll look into it. We'll see what we can do. Now,
So yeah, I'm doing that. I'm just traveling a lot, and you know,
what?
yeah, that's about it.
Early on, what were some of the struggles? Because you're a very successful actress and choreographer. What word?
You should hear him pronounce Michelle Visage.
Choreography. How about ographer?
I'm so bad with saying big words. What was some of the struggles
Just
early
call
on?
me a good C. No, I'm teasing.
What is it? What is you can't face, Candis? What was some of the struggles early on in your career, and what would you say to someone who wanted to possibly do what you do in the business?
Well, I mean, the idea of the struggles are it's weird because there was nobody really doing what I was doing or wanted to do. So I couldn't look at somebody and be like, you know, I want to be a famous actress and this is the road that I'm going to get there at, because there's no road. Because as gorgeous at the time that I thought I was or whatever, like there was always some queen who was like, hey, Candis Cayne, what's going on? You know, there was no way of me like trying to be like a normal actress. So I just was like, you know, I just kept on going to auditions and hoping that society would move forward. And, you know, the last thing I ever thought I would be able to do 2 seasons on an ABC show. I mean, that was kind of a crazy, looking back, like, that's like, oh, wow, that's like kind of major.
But you can honestly say that you were the first to do that.
Yeah.
Actually, I can say that because I read it. I know a lot about you. I read up on.
I would say is that my biggest advice for anybody is just don't give up, because there were moments where I was like, what the hell am I doing? Girl, get a desk job. No, I never said that. But at that moment that you think like, oh, girl, I'm going to call in a towel, you know, just keep pushing, you know.
It sounds like though you had no experience where you were able to stay true to yourself throughout throughout your entire career, which I think is awesome, because I feel that sometimes actors and actresses, they feel like they have to behave a certain way to get a certain role.
Yeah, I mean, I was always just kind of, I was definitely always myself, and being raised in like the New York City nightlife and having my 3 nights a week on stage and going through my transition on stage, and then doing all my acting stuff on stage and talking to people. There was no way for me to be any other way than just true about what was going on.
I have a question regarding transitioning. Do you have any specific something that you can say to a young person who may be considering transitioning from one sex to the other?
Well, that's a loaded question, because it varies so differently for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody is in a different situation. Like, my family completely embraced me, and I knew that whatever decision I made in my life, they would back me up. As nervous as I was about telling my parents, when I told my dad, he was like, that makes more sense than you being a gay man, because this is truly who you are, and I see that, you know? And a lot of people don't have that backbone behind them. I'm talking like my parents are my backbone. You know, I was able to just focus on other things rather than on the loss of family members and stuff.
Right.
So I would say that everybody's situation is completely different. My biggest thing, I guess, would say is just be true to yourself, because you don't want to wake up in 30 years and think, why didn't I do this?
Right.
Now I have a question that goes back to the show, unless
No, go ahead.
you had a follow-up.
Yeah.
So you, now that you've seen the episodes up until this point, and you've seen on air that there's a lot of tension between Roxy and Jinkx, did you feel it when you were there, or do you know if that was happening when you were there?
Honestly, I did not feel that, because it's such a whirlwind. The cameras are on. I'm standing there. I'm choreographing. There's very little downtime, and when there is, there's a ton of things going on, and they're being sequestered, and it's intense. You know, reality TV things. People think it's just like a fly-by-night kind of thing, and people are just hanging out and stuff. But they're very strict on when the girls can talk, when they can't talk. You know, it has to be on camera. There's no outside influences being brought in. So that's the only way you're ever going to get a real, true reality outcome, is if you treat a show like that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Off the record, do you have a personal favorite as to who you think should win?
Off the record.
Well, obviously, you'll be
Candis, before you answer that, Candis, did you ever run pageant?
I ran for Miss Continental and won. So I'm a former Miss Continental pageant.
That's right. You Hawaii girls, you and Yoshiko Oshiro.
So are you?
Yes, I know Yoshiko. We're sisters.
I know. I saw you guys. Never mind.
So are you more Roxy fan because she's a pageant girl?
So let me say this.
Penny's asking loaded questions.
I honestly have all 3 girls wrapped up inside of me. I have, that Jinkx, kooky, completely different, never was felt accepted when I was young. And so I did things like, just wore crazy hair and did crazy things in the little island of Maui a long time ago when nobody else was doing it. So and being picked on and all that kind of thing. So I totally understand that. And I love, Alaska and Jinkx have a similar type of feel like that. You know what I mean? I feel like Alaska is more kind of edgy, and I performed in New York City and Squeeze Box and all these places, so I have that in me too. And then I also did the pageant, so I have a lot of that whole glamour Roxy in me. So it's hard for me to root for one of the 3 girls, because I see a little bit of myself in all of them.
Pick one.
That was a gorgeous answer.
Exactly.
Pick one.
It
Tell you.
Pick one.
That was a pageant answer, hey.
was a great pageant.
Well, while we're on the topic, do you obviously there's a difference, a distinct difference between pageant and camp. Do you see ever in a future where the two can like coincide, especially in like a competition setting?
Well, before you answer, Candis, I have to say, I mean, I watch pageants. There is camp in pageants. It's just for me.
Totally.
There's glamour. There's a glamour side and there's the camp side. I don't know. Go ahead, Candis. Go ahead. Kenny is
But, you know, it's a gorgeous explosion when the two meet. So that's always a deadly outcome.
I'm going to use that.
Yeah,
Gorgeous explosion.
Well,
I like that. How long did it take you to work with the girls?
How long did you get?
I guess that's a better question.
I'm trying to remember. Not very long. I got an hour and a half maybe. So it was,
Gosh.
it was super.
Well,
it was super quick.
Well, we always talk about how editing and how I have a friend who's an editor for shows like these, and they shoot for hours. They only give you an hour and a half.
I guess it explains that because you're watching it and then the look of confusion and frustration that you get in your face, and then they're like being handed scarves and wind blowing in their face. It makes more sense now, the level of confusion when it's put into that.
But
time
I love Candis's level of professionalism, especially with Alaska, because you not once from what we saw you got frustrated with her because she kept messing.
No, not at all. Because I'm used to working with girls that some have more training than others, and it's about not complicating choreography, but about making it showy enough so it looks like there's a lot going on when there's not a lot of training needed to create that look,
Out of curiosity,
I'm actually choreographing the finale next week. So
Awesome.
that should be fun, yeah. So I have a day with the girls, and then we shoot the finale. So I have all the girls, so I have to figure out the best way to work with all of them and make them look as gorgeous as they are.
Nice. We want story. We want backstory on that too. So you have to call us back. Do you work with Matt Anderson very often, or no? Not so much.
So I know Matt from New York City back in the day when he was the duo of Matthew and Zaldi. I don't know if you guys know that at all. But
No.
they were legendary in New York City when I came on the scene as being the fiercest queens in the world. They were flawless, had amazing costumes, always came as a pair looking identical and looking incredible. Like Matthew was one of my drag idols, if you can believe that. Like looking now, he looks totally different. You wouldn't imagine that.
He did drag?
Oh, he was legendary.
Well,
Oh, okay. I can't.
Kenny shut down in this conversation.
Titta. Kenny's not all there.
No, it's okay because that's not the vibe that he gives. Although he does do drag now, like beard drag, which is sickening also. But that's a whole other story. But back in the day, Suzanne Barsh party, the whole nine. And then Zaldi went on to design for Lamb and Gwen Stefani.
Oh.
So,
Great. Well, Candis, thank you so much for calling in.
Oh my God! Thanks for having me.
But before you go, tell the viewers and everyone where they can find you.
Twitter.
Well, yeah, Candis Cayne and Twitter and Facebook and all of those things, and just doing elementary, call in to CBS, get me back on that show, kids. And I'm just traveling, doing tour dates right now around the country.
My friend saw you in San Francisco recently.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
How was I?
He said you were great.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Candis, again for calling us.
Thanks, guys.
If you want to call us 2 weeks from now for the finale, feel free. You're more than welcome to. it'll make the show interesting. Thanks, Candis,
you.
again. So back to
Kenny's spirit keeps leaving his body.
I know.
And then returning.
I've been up since 6:30. I sometimes check out. I'm like Jinkx. I'll fall asleep and then I'll wake up at random times
And then get mad.
and then get. I don't know. That's Roxy. She gets mad.
That was funny though. That little bit where she fell asleep at the car wheel. I couldn't tell if that was real or not.
Wait, she felt what?
When they were filming the scene, she fell asleep at the car wheel.
I don't think. I think that she made
was
that
funny.
up. Yeah, it was. Yeah, she made it up. So let's do the runway real quick.
Can I just need to read down my notes.
Go for
They
it.
go, Roxy, love everything but the hair. Jinkx, love everything but the dress. Alaska, Tilda Swinton.
Wait. Okay. Are you done?
My turn. Roxy, I love the hair. I actually didn't like the dress.
Oh, what?
I felt, and again, I know she's pageant. That was the most pageanty thing she's ever worn. I did not like that dress. I liked the concept of the paisley. I just hate completely jeweled gowns sometimes. Having seen pageants, that was very pageanty. I did not like the dress. Her makeup and her hair I loved. Did not like the dress.
I don't do
Jinkx.
well with Flock of Seagulls hair.
Jinkx.
Jinkx, her dress, I really felt like, well, I was going to say, when you're a little girl and you play dress up, maybe you did. I don't know.
It didn't quite fit.
Yeah, it was one of those things. Like, I was like, oh, this is her dress that she had when she was like 11. And, you pull it on and it's like, it belongs to your grandma or something. And you're walking around in your too big dress.
But I totally got the Princess Bride idea, concept, whatever.
Yeah, I liked from the neck up what was happening.
Because that's drag.
That's drag if you're seated, okay? Which would be my drag
Alaska,
right
I
here.
actually loved that dress. I actually liked her hair. But what I didn't like was the over padding of her ass. Like, where the frick did
liked
that
that.
come
Okay,
from?
so
That would have been hot if she had kind of grown throughout the season and slowly padded it. But that was crazy ass going on, and it was lopsided. Her left cheek, our right cheek to her, was bigger than the left cheek, and I felt like that was a borrowed dress from Detox, or Sharon. Like Sharon used part of her $100,000 to buy her a dress.
She just really looked like Tilda Swinton in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe to me.
I did like the look, but I was like, where'd that ass come from? That's
So there's
crazy.
no
You never
need
had
for-
that ass throughout the whole season.
there's no need for me to say it because Cameron, I agree with everything you said.
Because that's my sass.
I liked Roxy's hair. I didn't like the dress.
Right.
Jinkx, I freaking almost cursed, but I hated the dress. I hated the look. I did like the hairpiece, the headpiece.
that's
Alaska,
drag.
I freaking loved the dress. I loved the hair, and I did think it was like a knockoff to something that Sharon Needles would have worn.
Or Detox.
Okay, so I have a question.
That was like
They
Detox's
keep
dress.
bringing up this whole lace front. Is there something about a lace front that you shouldn't do? Because Ru said it once, and I think Michelle
You
said.
mean the fact that you could see her bra and she has no boobs? That's what irritated me.
Is
because
that-
it's
was
like,
that what
if
they
you're
mean?
gonna,
I can go with
if you're
that.
gonna show,
You should have
here's the-
titties.
Yeah, or if you're gonna be,
and-
and Willem has done this. A couple other drag queens have done the thing where they've come out like as if they were an A cup girl with like a big V drop. You can do that, but it's like. Don't go on and put on your fake A cup bra that looks like it looks like a kid's training bra underneath her dress. It was just wrong.
And why did she have to carry her dress the whole time? Like every time she walked.
It was big.
She
Well,
can't
she can't walk.
Wait, see, well then again, no points for her then. If you can't walk, then you shouldn't wear it. I loved
Maybe her butt was too heavy to
And
walk.
I didn't like
I
the
loved
butt.
Rue's dress. The thing was a little big, but I did like Rue's
I liked
dress.
her. I liked her
Yeah.
hair.
I liked
the dress
Rue's
was
look.
okay. I was gonna say something and I
Oh, yeah?
forgot. Oh, Alaska and the ass. I didn't. Are we allowed to say that now?
Yes, ass.
The bottom.
bad word.
I agree. It was lopsided unless it was just from different angles that they were shooting. It didn't look right. And I think if you're gonna have a big behind, you should have big boobies.
Well,
be
and again,
proportional.
maybe if she had progressively gotten bigger, but you can't jump from nothing
Yeah.
to something. God, that was crazy. That was crazy.
Did you guys see? And I can't remember what point it was. If it was the runway or once they started doing their
Video.
No, their confessions.
Confessional.
Yeah.
Defend your life.
Yeah, defend your life. Santino's facial expressions.
He made
Killing me. I'm sorry for the iTunes people that can't do it, but he was like,
He always makes those faces though.
it was like, what's that surprised hamster thing that was a meme on the internet? That's
I
what
thought
he
you-
looked like to me. The like
Well, that
every
was from an
time they
episode.
turned to him.
That's from South Park where the hamster goes up the Anyway.
Okay, no, not that one. This was a video that was not about hamsters and buttholes.
Oh, okay.
It was just a surprise
Sorry.
hamster.
So Roxy's Defend Your Life, as expected, was
Pageant.
Jinkx was more sentimental, which I actually liked her answer.
I liked her answer.
But then
Ever since I was a child.
It was very Jinkx, though. It was
Yeah.
very true to herself.
and she
But again,
mentioned-
they were all consistent with what they've always shown
Right.
from the beginning.
Right. Except for
Or
Alaska's.
that's how it was edited.
Although here's the thing, though, it must suck to be like, okay, they were like, Roxy, you were great at this challenge. Jinkx, you were great at this challenge. Alaska, you said 2 sentences. That worked for us.
No, but I think they also liked her runway
Can you
look.
imagine
too.
Jinkx snapping like Roxy? How the fuck you get away? Oh, sorry. You got by with that stupid comment.
And I just always feel that Roxy uses the runway to win points. When she apologizes, when she cries about getting left at a bus stop, I'm over that.
Because she's pageanty, it's like she's going out there, and this is when she makes her
persona,
point. But
yeah.
it's like you would have more viewer support if you had more of these conversations backstage.
Behind, yes, and that's why I think it's fake. But I still like you, Roxy. You're good.
Why? See, no,
Jesus.
wishy-washy. All the Kenny is flip-flopper.
saying.
He hates her all the time. He throws
I don't
total
hate.
shade.
I dislike
You
some
should
of her
see our
choices.
emails. You should see our emails. He's a liar right now.
So, Lip Sync for Your Life, the final one. I thought it was
who
boring.
did you pick?
To
Who would you
win?
pick? Who of the lip sync? Who would you have picked?
I would have picked Alaska.
I would have picked Jinkx or Alaska.
Yeah.
I think Roxy
Roxy went to the back for a lot
Yeah,
of
that
it.
was the problem with Roxy's choice, is that she went to the back while the two of them are like strutting their stuff in the front. And it's like, why would you make that choice?
See, Kenny knows me. Competition, I let them make a fool of themselves in the front. Go scream for attention.
But then no one was looking at her in the back of
Right.
the,
You could not see
Actually,
her.
they probably could. She's just so. Anyway,
That's right.
I'm not
Who got
bullying.
All-Star? What?
Oh, Jesus.
So that's it for the show. It was supposed to be a quick recap, but we managed to get it in under.
Yeah, we got it in, all right.
So,
But do you guys? One more comment.
Go for it.
Do you guys agree with the comment that? Because I agree with this comment where Michelle Visage says, "What's her name, Kenny?"
Versage. It's like choreography.
it's
Choreography. Michelle Visage.
and her choreography. Go ahead,
She
Jackie.
says-
Stop. You're being a bully.
I'm not being a bully.
I'm being bullied right now.
I'm your
Okay,
friend.
what
and
about the
I'm
page?
poking you in the tummy. She said, if we saw Carol Burnett at a red carpet event and she looked like a hot mess, we wouldn't even care.
She made a
If
great
I thought
point.
Carol Burnett was a man,
Oh my God.
No, she looks
No.
like a woman.
Yeah, she
And we're
looks
talking
like
about
she
Jinkx.
does.
We're talking
She
about
looks-
drag queen.
She looks very Carol Burnett-esque, and
Right.
it's like that's her shtick,
Mm-hmm.
and that's her thing, and it's like you almost just don't.
You go with it.
care,
It's
like
you know.
almost made it to be a woman. You almost did.
Where they're all dudes in a wig, right?
Just a dude in a wig. That
So, yeah.
There's a gif of that somewhere. You guys got it
it's
made
pretty
me laugh
funny.
so hard.
And plus Latrice, we all love her.
I also love the last shot of Roxy, and she like holds up her finger, and the light catches the glitter
Total
in her
pageant.
ring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she like knew where to put her finger in the light.
Well, that's nice.
Probably other.
So that's the end of the show.
In heels.
They didn't pick a winner, which is expected.
Yeah.
Duh. So we're done here. Let's do some news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Steve had that finger on the button, ready to
Yeah,
hit
he's
it.
like,
Steve likes buttons.
what is going? What?
Nothing. So
That's exactly what I was going for.
Steve's spending his
Steve,
time
see?
being quiet and naughty
See,
back
no.
there.
so
Touching somebody's button.
We're talking about news and gossip. And Jinkx, according to QueerT.com, she's going to be going back on the stage. She's going to be, let me read this because I'm really bad. She's going to return to the stage as Velma Von Tussle in the Fifth Avenue Theater's current production of Hairspray.
And didn't she say she wanted to do drag as a on stage?
Yes.
Yeah. So
During the
I mean,
interview.
during
Continue with that. So when is this taking place?
June 20th through the 23rd.
So how do you do that if you're supposed to be in contract as the next drag superstar?
Well, she's not in contract as of yet.
If she won,
And
she would be.
Oh,
Oh,
you do have a
Lordy.
point there.
Just saying.
But they haven't announced, they haven't even shot any of it unless Rue's already made her decision.
She probably hasn't. But I'm just saying. I mean, how do you have that multiple? Can you do that? You guys know about law. You guys know entertainment law.
We work there. We
yes,
don't know.
You can.
Damn it.
It depends.
There's stipulations.
Yeah, it depends because in the final thing she said one of her dreams was to perform, like, be in a play and drag. That's what I was looking for. Be in a play and drag. Now, if your contract already has that going into it, and I'm sure if that's like a dream of hers, they would let her do that. So it just depends on what the
Going by
contract
how
is.
Ru seems very shrewd. I don't know.
Oh gosh.
What else you got?
I got from also from Queerty.com that RuPaul has an app that's coming out. It's for gamers.
It looks so cool.
It's called Dragopolis, and basically what it is
like
an
SimCity
evil
for drag queens.
Yeah, an evil drag queen comes onto the actual show to try to take over.
Wario.
Yeah, and it's fun. And you get to pick drag queens like Manila, Lizanne, and some other people to play with.
I'll pick the box.
Yeah, Pandora box.
I'll pick the box. I want to be the big pink box.
Oh, you know what? That's a big box.
What else you got?
To put? That's it.
I have something.
Oh.
So this is my hello. This is my Save the Children moment.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
This is serious, guys.
It is serious. The Massachusetts governor and Deval Patrick, I'm not sure I pronounced that right, and Boston mayor, they made a fund called the One Fund for the victims of the Boston bombings. Just Google one or Bing. Bing.
That's B-I-N-G. Bing.
Bing wins in that test anyway. So Bing the One Fund, and you can donate to that. A lot of these people have really, really high medical bills from what happened to them, and even if they have insurance, I don't think they can afford all the extra limbs that they need.
So Bing, help the people in Boston, all the victims in Boston, the city of Boston. You're still in our prayers and our thoughts, and
we drag salute you.
we drag salute you.
And not just the victims, I mean, even the heroes that
The
helped out and got
heroes,
hurt.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, predictions.
And now,
I'm gonna ask you guys. I had it written down. Give me one.
There's some
quick
alien
second.
lights going on in here.
If the show was, if the winner was chosen by viewers only, who do you think the viewers would vote for?
Jinkx.
Jinkx.
But this is only because somebody posted, there was like an article recently.
I
of course
posted
it was
it,
recently.
I think.
Yeah, did you send it to me
think
that
so, yeah.
showed Jinkx has this many retweets, this many likes on Facebook, it just via looking at those like social media statistics. Yeah.
Do you think because I think Sharon Needles kind of won based on that too. Do you think that may
I'm sure they take it
persuade?
I think that's why they do that.
By the way, the voting. Did you catch the end of the show? This reminds me of Tony Moore when she said go to Twitter and then Facebook, and then she started reading all these other websites. It's like Pinterest. It's like
it was.
It's like when did Tony Moore write for this show? Anyway, shout out to Tony. Go ahead. Who do you get?
Ru wants to be on all platforms too.
I almost died in my. Okay, so who do you think will actually win the title, the crown?
Jinkx.
One for Jinkx.
I'm just going to stick with Roxy.
One for Roxy. And I'm going to say Alaska to be different. So there. That concludes our show. Real quick, tell everyone where they can find you, Jackie.
At 123 Jackie_B.
At Tomakava 777.
And I'm going to spell mine out. It's KAYSEEH25 on all platforms.
MOUSE.
Thank you guys for another episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. Thank you for downloading us.
Make your comments. Look forward to your comments.
We do. We crack up.
Especially these two.
Even if you're mean. I don't care.
Real quick, we won't be on next week. We will come back to you in 2 weeks for the reunion and to see who gets crowned as the winner.
America's Next Drag Superstar.
And that's it. Thanks, guys.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.